Welcome back, everybody, once again to the Too Easy Project. I am your host, Bill Berg. I am not sponsored by Yeti. Please sponsor me, Yeti. Today, for episode 10 of the podcast, I've got a guy named Chris Deja. Now, I used to wrestle against Chris back in the day in high school. Today, we're going to talk about our experience in the Air Force. We're going to talk about primarily dieting for cutting and bulking, and then high reps with low weight and high weight and low reps. And there's a lot of controversy over this in the past, and I'm going to ask him what he thinks about it and what works for him. I know you back from, I think, maybe freshman, sophomore year of high school. We were in the same conference for wrestling. You remember our last time wrestling against each other, senior year?
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you? Yeah. You made me look pretty good, because it was my girlfriend's dad's first time watching us wrestle, and I don't think you put everything out on the mat that match.
No, I definitely did. I was pretty nervous that match. I knew you ranked pretty high, and I was having a rough year that year at that time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So wrestling, and we also have the Air Force in common. Now, I've talked a little bit about my Air Force experience in different episodes, but you joined, I think, 4 months or so after me, something like that, 3 months.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So what's your experience been like in the Air Force so far? How you feeling about it?
Honestly, I didn't like it at first. It was rough, dude. Getting yelled at all the time, going to tech school, following all these crazy rules. Some didn't even make sense why you were following them. But I don't know. You meet some great people along the way. I mean, I still talk to some people from tech school. They're cool dudes. So, I mean, I got a buddy in Alaska. I still talk to him, FaceTime him all the time. So it's pretty nice. Got a guy in South Dakota that I still talk to. Now I'm over here in Germany, and honestly, it's pretty cool. It's a good experience. I pretty much go hiking every weekend here, dude. There's so much to see, so much fun stuff here. So, I mean, as long as this COVID stops soon, it'll be nice.
Yeah. I've got a buddy from tech school too, who's in Japan right now, and he was home on his leave. You got to save up leave, and then, accrue enough to be able to go home and see your family. And his got cut short because of the whole COVID thing. They said, you got to get out of the States right now, back to Japan. So that sucks. But yeah, no, dude, I hear what you're saying about the whole, you meet some new people, and I got a couple guys at my wedding and my bridal party that are going to be groomsmen, and I met them through the Air Force too, and it's just amazing brotherhood experience, that I hadn't really had since college or high school sports like wrestling and things like that. So that was cool. But the main reason I wanted to have you on is to talk about what you're doing right now in the weight room. And I don't know what to call it, because I don't know if you're planning on competing or not, but you're building a great physique is what it seems like. And you're kind of, it seems like the style of your workouts, and you're very, your very particular diet and your structure kind of points towards a specific goal in the bodybuilding realm. But if it's not, that's fine too. But what are your goals right now? What's pushing you to work hard in the weight room?
Well, right now weight room's close, so I can't go to it really. But right now I'm just trying to sustain. So I mean, I just got done with the run. It was like 20-minute run. It wasn't too much. Every now and then when I'm chilling in my dorm, sit here and do some ab workouts, basically push ups, sit ups, whatever I can do.
Yeah.
Got to pull a bar on the door and whatnot. So, but as far as it goes, I mean, there's a show next year, March in Louisiana, that I'm thinking about doing. So, I mean, that's kind of the goal right now. Start, see where I can get there. I mean, I know as far as last year goes, I was doing more of time over tension workouts. So instead of doing 15 reps at a light weight and just doing them quick, I was doing 15 reps, but exploding up, pausing at the top, and then down slow. So opposed to getting 30 seconds of time on the muscle, straining that muscle for 30 seconds, I was getting 60 seconds with the same weight, same amount of reps. So that's what I try to focus on. It helps me build mass, and it also helps me stay lean.
Sure.
So that's kind of what I focus on. And then, I mean, I diet pretty good. I mean, in the mornings, it's more of egg whites with 2 eggs in there, actual yolks. So, I mean, that's pretty strict on that. I always have my cup of oatmeal.
I mean,
usually have some milk in there.
That right there shows that you're very motivated for a specific goal in bodybuilding, because not many people, even if they're going for strength gains in the weight room are really going to separate their egg whites, you know. So I think that shows that you're really trying to build that physique right there, which is
Yeah,
great.
that's been kind of what I've been doing since high school. I mean, I started lifting in high school, so it just kind of became the thing. But back then, I didn't know much about dieting. I was just lifting to lift heavy weights for sports, be stronger than the other guy kind of thing. But I mean, after high school, and then I left college sports and all that. I mean, it was kind of, well, this is my sport now. I want to do something with it. So then I started just watching a bunch of famous people. I started watching like Simeon Panda, the Joe Aesthetics guy. He's got some good physique.
That
So
kid, that
I
guy's
watched a lot of
crazy.
Kai Green. Yeah, they're
This dude,
ridiculous.
this
So I
dude
check
can
those
like
out.
flex his pecs and his legs and his back to in a way where it looks like it's like vibrating almost. That's
Yeah,
that's
he's
what I
ridiculous.
first started following him, is because he just those alien gains is what he talked about.
Yeah,
That's
that's when
crazy.
he really blew up. As soon as that video came out of his chest just rippling, I was like,
Yeah,
damn, I want to do that one day. But I don't
yeah,
know. That's pretty crazy what he does. So
yeah. But it's also not a good representation, I think, because like obviously to get to that level, whether you're taking steroids or not, I mean, even if I took steroids right now, there's no way I would ever get to his level, you know. So
yeah,
he's
he's
got an
ridiculous.
amazing platform and genetics to go along with it. But man, I just can't believe that some of these guys would be natural, you know. Except the guys that look like
I have a
him.
tough time believing it, especially with Simeon Panda. I mean, as big as
I
that
know.
dude is, he feels all natural, but it's like, how do you get that big? He's like 6'1", 250 pounds, and he's at like 8% body fat. That's not normal.
I know. I mean, like there's some dudes that are just freaks in nature, and I
That's
can't
true.
tell someone that they're on steroids, you know, because I don't know. But yeah, like you're saying, there's no way. Okay, there's a 0.0000001% chance that ever happens naturally, you know. Um,
Exactly. I mean,
but
DK Metcalf, that's about the only person I've ever known of that's pretty natural
yeah,
since he tested regularly.
yeah. But you know, that's the issue I think nowadays, is that people try to get into the weight room for the first time and try to learn, you know, how to build muscle or how to, you know, gain strength or just how to be more athletic. And then they see these guys on Instagram that are posting these workout programs that are supposed to make us look like them. But who's going to look like Simeon Panda doing these home workouts during the quarantine that they say will work, you
Exactly.
know? So that's kind of why I like to talk to, you know, almost real people like you and I who, you
Hmm.
know, we might not be at that level, but I think, you know, having to do it naturally and kind of build your way up uh, from the bottom, you kind of learn things that other people wouldn't. So um, that's kind of why I wanted to have you on today, because I know that bodybuilding wasn't always like your the thing that you were doing. Like you said, you started doing it after high school or since high school, but
Yeah, shortly after, once I
yeah,
kind of left college, I was wrestling and playing football in college. So once I left, then I was like, well, now this is what I really want to do. I mean, I'm in here all the time. I might as well do something with it. And that's when I kind of
yeah.
started looking stuff up.
but but you had mentioned before the whole time and attention thing, and I want to go back to that because I want to talk about high reps versus low reps, and like strength versus, you know, what people call training for toneness with the low weight, you know. um, so what's your philosophy when it comes to that in your everyday goals? I mean, you're in there to get bigger, you're in there to get leaner. I mean, that's mostly everybody's goal, whether you're training for a sport. I mean, whatever it is, you're not really going into there to gain fat. You're not really going in there to lose
Yeah.
muscle. So you're really generally in the weight room working out to gain muscle and to lose fat. So what is your philosophy when it comes to uh, reps and weight? You know,
Um, for me, I believe you can still do a heavier weight with higher reps, which is actually what I do. So, I mean, just like dumbbell shoulder raises, I prefer more reps on those for my shoulders because they're naturally built already. So it's not like I need them to get freakishly huge. They're already kind of big for my body.
yeah,
They're kind of ahead of everything else on my body. So it's like, I'd rather do more reps and a little bit heavier weight. So like, I mean, double shoulder raises, I do probably the 45-pound dumbbells, 50-pound dumbbells for seated shoulder raises. But it's like I work my way up there. So I start out very low in my workout. So I start out like 15, 20 pounds maybe for a warm up, probably even 15 pounds for a warm up actually. And I'll start at 20 reps for 3 sets, and then I'll slowly work my way up. And I'll start out at my workout with a higher rep range, and then by the end of my workout, I'm at the lower rep range, just kind of
really,
to
because a
burn
lot
me
of
out
people
with
will do
extra
the
weight.
opposite. a lot of people, if they say, "Hey, here's what I want you to do: incorporate high weight and low weight in the same exercise," they're gonna be like, "Okay, I'm gonna start heavy and then end, maybe
A
drop
lot
some
of
weight by
people
the
do
end."
do that to burn it out because they want to burn it out at the end.
Yeah.
But for me, it works because say I just ate an hour ago. I don't know. It helps me honestly burn that fat off. So then by the end of it, I'm not honestly I don't get too tired for high reps because my muscles are pretty conditioned. So by the time I get down to that heavy weight, I'm still able to do it. I mean, it may be different for everybody else. I've tried both ways, but I like to actually start with a high rep first and then get down to my lower reps.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but that's what works for me.
Yeah. And there's always been a debate about what's better for hypertrophy, because it is undeniable that training for strength is going to make you stronger versus training, 20 reps per set. I mean, because that's undeniable in just the way, if you think about it, common sense. I mean, if you go out and run 50 miles a day, you're going to be a lot better at running 50 miles a day than someone who sprints 100 meters a day. I mean, that's just how it
Mm-hmm.
works. So, but muscle size wise or appearance and or growth, there's always been a debate about whether low reps with high weight, low reps high weight, or low weight high reps is better. And here's my take on it. I think that if I'm going to go to squat, right, and I'm going to have to push out 5 reps of a really heavy weight, that last rep is utilize. I mean, it's tough. Like I'm pushing, and
Oh yeah.
that's it's still heavy enough where I'm. I don't know how to explain this, but I've heard that in under like 20-second range, there's your muscles are using glycogen as its energy source, and then over that threshold, it's an aerobic exercise, so meaning your body needs extra oxygen in order to keep doing it, and
Yeah,
that's
by
why
the
you get.
fifth rep, your reps slow down. You're over that 20 seconds for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you start to actually get tired. Well, when I'm doing just like a really heavy 5 rep set, I'm not really tired. My muscles are just very, very fatigued in themselves, because I'm working the muscles very hard. But when I'm doing like a 20 rep set, I start to I'm breathing heavy, you know. The fatigue comes not just in muscles, but in my lungs and in my body's ability to bring oxygen to the muscles themselves. So I think in my opinion, I think it's better to go low reps and try to go heavy in
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. That's just my philosophy. But it works for me. But like you said, with your already developed shoulders, based on the body part and based on their size and the exercise, you change that up, and I think that's true too. But so then for like those big lifts, like squat, bench, overhead press, deadlift, things like that, do you still lift with that 15 rep range, like you said about the shoulder raises?
Not with my main lifts. No. So with my squats, I'll usually start. I don't know. I'll start around 225 for a warm up for like 10 to 12 reps, and then from there I'll progressively go up. I'll go as high as I can possibly go to get my either 5 to 7 rep range. So I kind of know where that is. Usually it's around 385 for my 5 to 7 rep range. And then after that one, I know I'm kind of burnt out. So what I like to do is I like to actually put more weight on after that. So usually I'll throw 4 plates on and then I'll try to get 1 or 2 reps. I'm hoping I fail on that second or third rep just so I'm pushing my legs harder. But as far as my chest goes, I don't go very heavy on my chest at all. I think the highest I go is probably 245, 250. That's probably the highest I go. There's
Really?
no need for me to go any higher. It hurts my shoulders, so I don't like to do it too much because I actually had some shoulder injuries in high school
Sure.
and in college. So I try to keep the weights on the chest and the shoulders
Huh.
sort of light sometimes at least.
So, yeah, you're lucky. You've even had shoulder injuries, and your shoulders are the best developed muscle that you would
I
say.
know
And
it
I have had
amazes
no
me.
shoulder injuries, and my shoulders are very lacking in comparison to the rest of my body, and I can't do anything about it. I spend extra time on it, and it just doesn't. They're just stuck. But so you're lucky, because a lot of people have that same problem as I do. You know, so
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. My buddies always say, they're like, how are your shoulders so big? Like you've had shoulder injuries, all this. Like it just doesn't make any sense. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. They hurt every day, but they still grow.
Um, but yeah, so I would say the same thing with bench. I mean, what happens I find is that you see these guys in the weight room trying to push up really, really heavy weight, and they end up just, their form goes to shit. And then, how much benefit are they doing their chest at that point? So I feel that on bench for sure. Um, but but yeah, I mean, I think my biggest piece of advice I would give to somebody who's going to the weight room new is that, you know, I don't necessarily count my reps every set. You know, I don't go in there thinking I'm going to do exactly this many reps.
Oh no,
And
I
then, you know,
feel
if
you on
I do
that
more
for
or
sure.
less, then I'm going to be
Yep.
all, you know, whatever. But like, all I know is like in my head, I know a certain weight that is difficult for me. You know, what's really hard for me, what's not that hard for me.
And what's gonna feel good? What rep range? Like you
Yeah.
don't really count it. You just know at a certain point, like okay, that rep felt good. Like I can end
Yeah.
on that one. That was the good
Yeah,
one right
exactly. I mean, if I go in there thinking I'm going to get 10 reps and then maybe I get 9, a lot of times that's just going to make me feel bad. And then the rest of my sets are going to not be that good. But if I go in there and just put a weight on and I go as hard as I can until, you know, like you said, you feel like, okay, this is a good one to end on. Maybe I got one more left. And then that last set, you know, push it out. But I think, you know, people make the, the mistake of kind of overanalyzing everything that they're doing in there. But obviously, for someone like you said you have a very specific structure and diet, though. So, I mean, do you ever change it up? I mean, do you have the same routine every single week? Because a lot of people who at their like at the top level of anything physically, they have their routine down. You know.
Honestly, as far as my meals, no, I don't really change that. It's chicken, rice, oatmeal, eggs, and I'll throw some fruit in there sometimes before workout just to get a little bit of extra sugars in me. But honestly, no, I don't switch my diet at all. It's just straight chicken. It's awful after that third meal of the day, but no, I just stick to it. The
So
workouts, though, I change those up.
why do you eat the foods that you eat? Just for whoever's
Um,
listening.
well, I kind of by watching all the videos on different bodybuilders, a lot of them use chicken. Obviously, it's a good source of protein. Obviously, steaks. I'll have a steak every once in a while. Just it's high in creatine, so it makes me absorb a lot of water. So for me, I drink too much water and then I feel bloated when I eat a steak. So I try not to do it too much, but I do throw a steak in there every so often. Um, my egg whites, I mean, it's straight protein. Once you have egg whites, it's straight protein. It's, no carbs, fats, nothing like that. So that's just pure protein for the morning diet. And the morning diet's supposed to be high in fats. So that's why I try to include some egg whites and oatmeal in there and maybe a glass of milk or something like that. But other than that, I don't have a lot of fats in my diet really.
I mean, like you, I kind of eat primarily protein and carbs, I would say, more than anything. And a lot of people push for the keto diet, which I tried once and it didn't work for me. Have you ever had any experience trying that? Have you tried it
No,
at all? It doesn't. It's. I know. I know. My roommate did it once, like sophomore year of college, and he lost like 40 pounds, and I was like, oh,
that's just the no carb diet, right?
pretty much, yeah. Pretty
Oh,
much.
I
You
can
like
never do
you
that.
up your protein and fat, and you're eating like no carbs.
No,
I know,
I don't know. I mean, that's more like a wrestling season thing to cut that little bit of weight. But
dude.
I mean, I could never do that again. No, that's awful. It's torture.
I know, and like you said, you have that oatmeal in the morning, dude. I eat oatmeal every single morning. I'll put a little honey on there, so it's a little more tasty.
Yep,
But
exactly. That's
do
exactly
you?
the
Do
honey
you
and some
actually?
bananas
Huh?
in there and some
Yeah,
apples.
yeah,
Yep.
dude, honey's like the best sweetener out there because you can put some of those sugary like I don't know. At least when I was a kid, when I had oatmeal, I put like brown sugar on it. I put syrup on it, you know. And but like honey's a great sweetener. I mean, it's sugary, but it's all natural, and they don't add anything to it most of the time. So
And
that's what.
oatmeal is man, it is the most bland meal you will ever taste.
Yeah,
I just can't eat it plain. I can't do it.
and what I would do is sometimes I would just like pour oatmeal into a bowl without water, put some peanut butter in there, and mix it up. And so I'm eating like a super sticky oatmeal paste thing, and yeah,
I haven't tried that one yet.
yeah. Um, but oatmeal is one of my power foods. It's like oatmeal, cottage cheese, chicken, and and I think banana. I think banana. This is just like in my mind. Those are like the 4 foods. Rice
Bananas
probably.
right for
Rice
every
probably
word.
for you, but
Yeah, rice. I throw in a lot of rice with my chicken. That's mainly what I throw in with my chicken. Rice, and sometimes I'll cut out some rice and I'll just throw in some veggies in with it. But I mix it up with that every so often.
okay. So right now you said you're trying to maintain or sustain what you're at now, but how does your mindset or as far as structure of your workouts and diet go if you're bulking versus cutting? You said that you did some running today. If you're going on a bulk, which is a lot of people think you just eat everything in sight and you're just going to put on a bunch of weight, do you still do cardio? Some people do, some people don't.
If I'm bulking, my cardio is significantly cut down. So usually, well, I got PT in the mornings anyways. I'm in the Air Force. So we have
You actually
PT
have
through,
PT still?
not right now with the COVID, but on a regular basis, even when I'm bulking, I enjoy having that morning cardio for my fasting cardio because the fats or extra carbs that I did eat the day before, it actually gets burned off in that morning. So that's kind of nice. So it actually helps me build lean muscle and bulk at the same time because I eat enough throughout the day to where I'm in a surplus still. So as long as I do my morning fasting cardio and I'm still putting myself in the surplus by the end of the day, I'm good. I still can bulk. I can still gain weight and keep the good look. So that's mainly
Huh.
what I shoot for.
Interesting. So, I mean, people have mixed feelings about that fasted cardio, but you find that it really does work for you, huh?
It works for me. It makes me feel a lot leaner. Plus, I mean, you don't have anything in your body in the morning, so you got to think, what's your body going to use for energy? It's just the fat on your body. So, I mean, it cuts out the fat on your body, so it's nice.
Sure. But as far as like lifting heavy versus, at least for me, because when I'm cutting, I just don't have the energy that I did um, versus bulking. So for me to lift as heavy and with as much volume is kind of hard, unless I'm doing it wrong. But a lot of the times it's like, it's a pretty short cut, so that I'm trying to cut down heavily. So what's your advice then for somebody who is having trouble putting up that strength numbers when during a cutting phase? So how should they structure their workouts then? Should they not make any
Um,
changes?
Honestly, if you're cutting, you're not gonna gain muscle at that point because you're gonna be obviously be on a lower calorie diet. You're gonna have a little bit less energy. But the way I put it is, if you want to cut down that weight and you still want to keep the numbers in the weight room, I focus more on higher reps and I add an extra cardio session in there. Usually at the end of my workout, I usually do about 25 to 30 minutes of cardio, and then I'll even hit like 10 to 15 minutes of abs. I mean, that's about it. When you're shredding, I mean, you don't have a lot of energy by the end. So it's like, get that cardio and get that abs in, and then by then you're fine. So, but
I
yeah,
like
as
how
far
you
as, yeah, higher reps is what I do.
I like how you threw in abs there when I'm talking about cutting, because that's the same for me too. I don't really hit abs if I'm trying to bulk up. I just think there's not really a big point to it. Like during this quarantine time, I mean, there's not
I
much to do besides body weight exercises like abs, but
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, when I'm bulking, I don't hit them hard, but I'll do them for at least 5 to 10 minutes. I'll go and I'll just do some easy sit-ups, some crunches, some side crunches, some just some different things for my obliques. It usually only takes about 10 minutes, so it's
yeah.
usually not too much. But when I am cutting though, 15 minutes, 15 20 minutes is about good.
Okay, so let me get this straight. What have we learned? We learned that diet is going to stay the same most of the time, right?
Pretty much, yep.
Just doesn't matter really at what point of the season it is or whatever your goals are in the weight room. The diet, the nutrition of the foods you eat doesn't change. And you're
No,
always supposed
definitely.
to be, yeah. So chicken's going to be chicken and it's going to have the same benefits to your body no matter what. And it's not like eating cake when you're bulking is going to have any extra, effect or anything like that. So diets should be the same. We all know what's good for us, what's not. Chicken, rice, oatmeal, some fruit, um, throw in some honey if you really do need that sweetener. But um, yeah, so I like that a lot. Let's talk about the Air Force a little bit, because when I went to basic, dude, I lost a ton of weight. A ton. I went down to the lowest I'd been in like 3 years at that point in weight wise. And my waist went down from like a 32 to a 30. I went from 185 to 165. And so like we're doing push-ups all day, as you know, we do push-ups, like
Pretty
every other
much, yep.
day we're doing the push-ups with no actual, formal weight training, obviously. So when I got back to tech school afterwards, my bench was so bad. My squat was so bad. My overhead press, terrible. Everything. Strength lifts were bad, but I could rep out way more push-ups than I could before, which is crazy to me. I could hold a plank for way longer. But I got really discouraged because of that, and it was hard to really find that motivation to be back in the weight room, because I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, dude, this
Oh,
is
that's exactly the same thing was for me, except I gained weight. Somehow I gained weight at basic.
I'm sure it wasn't in muscle though, was it?
No,
There's no
definitely
way.
not. No, I got a little chubby at basic, but I mean, when I went to tech school, that was the same thing. It was kind of demotivating going in the weight room. It's like, dang, all these months that I just was freaking, I was getting some lean mass to me. I was at 10% body fat. I was weighing around 200 pounds. You know, I'm only 5'10", so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then going to tech school, and I come out of there at 205 pounds, and my body fat's up to like 18%. And I'm like, wow, this sucks. So like getting back in that weight room sucked at first. I was only going in there for like an hour every day, man. I was just like, screw this is awful. But I mean, I always tell myself, I know about after a month, I'm going to get right back into it. And that's just going to be, I'm going to be back to where I am, and it's going to feel good again. So after that first month though, it's fun. It's good.
And a lot of people right now are probably thinking that, you know, it's going to be tough, like we're saying, to get back in the weight room after this COVID stuff's done with, because most people can't work out, at least at the intensity that they used to, because without weights. But I mean, my advice, not advice, but like assurance is, like, both of us, you know, we were able to get back on our feet and get back to the place we were at, physique wise, strength wise. I mean, not a lot of time, honestly. Like, your body is used to whatever you were at before. You said you're at 200 pounds, 5'10", 8% body fat, and your body's used to that, and it knows it, and it's familiar with it, and you got back to it pretty quick. And same with me. It only took about a month and a half for me to get back to my regular strength levels at tech school. So anyone who's discouraged, I would just, you know, get back in the weight room, and you're gonna have to humble yourself too, because I tried to put up the same weights right away, and I needed to humble myself and put on a little lower weight, and build up to it again. But I I guess now, since all the weight rooms are closed too, like on my Air Force base, the weight room's closed, and I didn't expect that. I thought that would stay open, at least because the base is open. But so, what are you doing nowadays, I guess, for strength training?
Honestly, not a whole lot. I mean, like I said, I got the pull-up bar, and it's not really a band, but it's like those, it's kind of like a band, but those things that are stiff, and you just use your body to push it instead of using the band to push your body to push the band. It's like you push your own body. I don't know. It's weird. But
I don't know what you're talking about. Try to explain it.
It's like straps or whatever with handles on it, basically, and you just attach it. It's like you put it inside the door, basically.
Yeah.
Basically what I use. But honestly, no, I already know once I get back in the weight room, my numbers are going to go down a lot. So I'm just going to have to grind through that first month or so, and just hopefully get back up to where I was. I know it's going to take a while, though. That was 8 months of work that I was just putting in, and now I don't have weight.
Yeah, dude, my legs
are not going to be the same.
My legs are what I'm worrying about, because I mean, I can do pull-ups all day. I can find like gallons of water or milk or whatever, and do some curls. I can do handstand push-ups I mean, dips. I can find ways to work my upper body, but it's difficult to find ways to put the strain on my legs that I do, you know, from doing squat or deadlift, which are just such. Yeah, I mean, it's just, they're such powerful components of your body that doing body weight exercises just doesn't cut it a lot of the time. So that's what I'm struggling with. I don't know what you're doing for legs, but if you want to provide some insight.
Honestly, my legs are pretty natural. So I usually only do legs once every week and a half or so. I don't really time it out.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but I mean, so when I went home on vacation before I came here to Germany, I hadn't squatted in like 2.5 weeks. I was like, you know what, screw it. Let's just put it on the squat rack. Ended up doing 405 for 3 reps that day, and I'm like, wow. So I mean, dude, my legs just kind of are naturally there. So I'm not worried about my legs at all.
You're lucky, dude. I don't think you realize how lucky you are, because, dude, I got small calves. I got to work to build up my legs. I got small shoulders. I mean, I got a decent chest and arms and back, but geez, dude, you're lucky. You're lucky, because leg day is the worst day for anybody most of the time.
That's the easy days. Those are the fun days, honestly, for me. My buddy in tech school would always be like, dude, I ain't doing leg day with you. I'm like, why not, man? He's like, because you do too damn heavy and too many damn reps on it. He's like, I can't keep up with you, so I ain't even gonna try to do it with you.
Not fair.
I'd rather have it somewhere else, though. I mean, I don't mind my legs being a little bit smaller. I don't like how big they are sometimes.
Really? I guess beggars can't be choosers, though, when it comes to that kind of thing.
True, that's true. You just got to work it all.
Yeah, and that's a good point, actually. I want to touch on this, too. I mean, when I was in high school, like I was a great runner and I wrestled, and wrestling is just not good for building muscle in any way, especially with, you're cutting weight
No.
constantly, and it's not like you have much energy besides practice to go into the weight room and lift heavy. And so my legs were always kind of skinny, and especially being in high school, what kid really wants to work squat? I mean, no one, you know. So so then I got to college and I started to really lift, and I had to work to build up the weak components, like I said, my shoulders and legs. And a lot of people, like you said, your buddy says, oh, I don't want to go in there and do legs because, what's the point? It's not, they're weak. I'm just going to humiliate myself, or it just sucks. Leg days are usually pretty tough.
Yep.
But the day that I started to really prioritize my weaknesses in the weight room, is the day that I saw the most changes, like in the physique. Because, like, I mean, at a certain point, if you are in the weight room long enough, you're not going to see like as much as the changes that you used to. I mean, after those
Yeah,
8 months,
it's gonna look the same to you. You see yourself every
yeah,
day.
yeah. But
I
then I
mean,
started
when
to,
you target those weaknesses, though, that's when everything else starts to poke out a little bit more because
yeah,
it's like
for
that
sure,
weakness now, it was small and it was bringing you down. But as soon as you target that one muscle group that was kind of smaller, it's like that gets a little bit bigger and it complements everything else on you. So it's like that's why it's nice to kind of do everything.
yeah. And I mean, I can't quote the studies, but I mean, I've heard the numerous benefits of working, like, working your legs very hard, like in testosterone levels and overall muscle size, even on your upper body. I've heard that it has a impact as well. um, but I will say that steroid use has clear indicators in shoulder size and leg size. So what do you say to the naysayers, dude?
Oh man, I've heard that about that. I've been on steroids before, but no, definitely not, dude. Oh my god, I get drug tested too much in the Air Force to
That's
even
true.
try
That's
that.
true. That's not a joke either. That's not something to play around with, especially being in the Air Force, because I don't know how mad they would actually be for someone on steroids, but they're not kidding around when it comes to other illegal drugs. So
Oh, they'd kick you out. At tech school, we had our the guy that was like the chief of the drug inspections or whatever. Like he would administer the drug tests and all that. And some guy got kicked out for a testosterone booster. Actually, he got a dishonorable discharge for it. He told us because he was like,
no,
"Oh, the guy said that he was on C4, but it popped top for this." He's like, "So watch what you're taking because I'll walk you to your commander and you're gone."
no way. Just for
Dang,
taking
dude.
some testosterone boosters.
I guess so, dude. I guess so.
I mean, you see, like, I mean, Air Force is known for not being the most athletic of the branches, though. Anyone probably knows that. Um, so I mean, I don't get why they would kick someone out for taking like steroids of any kind, or even just illegal
I have
like
no idea.
performance substances. Doesn't make any sense because they
Guess
don't
it's the
prioritize
same
it
thing
that
as a
much.
drug.
I guess. I guess. I mean, that kind of comes back to, though, people at basic would talk all the time about them like giving us shots or the pills with like some hormone suppressant in it to make us more docile and agreeable. Did you ever hear that?
No,
You
I
never
never
hear
heard
that?
that one.
So
I
kids would
just,
always say, "Oh, we get all those shots at like the beginning of basic, and one of them has this testosterone suppressant in it to make us follow orders better." You
no,
never heard that? Did
no,
you?
I never heard that one.
What? And I'm
I
like,
just know that
dude,
those shots hurt.
they did, dude. We had, uh, they called it the
God,
peanut butter
poor
shot. They
kid.
called it the peanut
Oh,
butter shot for you guys.
oh, yeah, yeah, they did. That was awful, dude. Oh my God, waking up the next day, worst pain of your life, dude. You couldn't even sit, nothing. Everything hurt. God, that was a bad
they
day
they
for
would like they like. I mean, you go into this room and you're all in a single file line, and you go into this room and there's like doctors with needles literally standing on both sides of you, like a line like of three on each side, and you just walk down and each of them poke you, at once, just, and you have no idea what you're getting. You're just getting shot with something. You don't know.
you know.
And then you go up and they say, okay, take your pants down a little bit, and they take this liquid in this big huge needle, and it's called the peanut butter shot because it feels like peanut butter is literally getting injected into you.
It's just so thick.
Yes, it's so thick, and the needle is just huge. And so they put it right into your like right butt cheek, and And then for the next couple of days, you can't even like sit down without it being painful. And we had we had a guy tell us that when he went up there, the guy in front of him was so scared, right? And they say do not tense up. You're supposed to stay relaxed. Do not tense up, or
Oh,
that's
you're
going to go into
gonna
the
get
muscle.
tensed
And
up. Oh my
he said the
gosh.
guy in front of him was going up there, and they stuck him with it. He goes, ah. Said he's like, ah. So then this dude's like, oh, what's going? Is it that bad?
Honestly, I got surprised with them. So when you're walking that line and they got like the on both sides or whatever, and you got to go stand by the rail, and then they, tell you to
Yeah.
pull your pants down a little bit. I got kind of surprised because I saw a line at the door where you go out, and I thought that was the office where you get it.
Oh,
So at the moment, I wasn't even expecting to get it, and then she's like, "All right, come over here and put your hand on the rail and pull your pants down a little bit." I was like, "Wait, what?" So I was like, I was kind of surprised by it. So honestly, I hate needles. I was freaking out. But the fact that I was surprised at what time I got it, it wasn't so bad, honestly, for me. So I
that's
got kind of
yeah.
lucky with that one.
And I got lucky too because I had just gotten immunized for some of the stuff before I had gone. Luckily, so then at basic I didn't have to get as many. Um, but anyway, so we ran every other day, which is way more than I'd ever run too. Like going back to the whole losing weight thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then coming out of it, I was super good with my cardio, with my push-ups, with everything like that. And I almost wanted to keep doing that, like as my workouts, like change from weight room to cardio and push-ups and sit-ups, because it just felt so good. Like I lost a lot of weight, like I said, it felt so good to have like a full six pack and just be like shredded. And I
That's
forgot
how
what that it
I
felt
felt.
like.
That's how I felt in college wrestling, running all the
Yeah,
time, and like, college wrestling cardio workouts are definitely built different than high school workouts. So it's like, man, I kind of want to keep this look and just keep lifting you around, and just put on the
yeah,
muscle. But it's like it never goes like that. You always want to eat your foods, and so it never stuck to that in college for sure. But
yeah.
it always felt nice once you got like that. It was nice.
So, what are your end goals, though? I mean, I know that you said there's a show coming up pretty soon here, but what's like your goal? I mean, what puts you in the weight room? What makes you work out?
Um, Honestly, I just want to look like those guys that I'm watching in the video. So that's kind of what
Yeah,
inspired me. So watching them, it's like, man, like you can actually look like that. So it's like researching them, taking their advice, practicing their things like the mind muscle connection, time over tension. I do all that. So it's like that's kind of my goal is to look like them. Not so much do I want to be a pro bodybuilder, not so much because it's a lot to put your body through that just to get down to 6% body fat. Like there's nothing healthy about that for your body. It definitely hurts your body and takes a toll on it after so many years. But to have the look that they do year round, that would be nice. That's kind of the goal. So I'm hoping to do that. And I'm actually thinking about once I get my CDCs done here in the next year, so I'll start my personal trainer certificate online. It's only a 7-month course, and you can do it at your own pace. So it's like, why not?
sure. So then, what kind of place would you work at then? Would you kind of try to open up your own place or work at like a local gym or?
Honestly, if I end up getting out of the military with that, I'm not sure because the career field I'm in now in the military is such a nice like setup to where if I finish my bachelor's in this, it's actually a really good career field out on the civilian side. So
Hmm,
I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens in a couple of years once I get out or don't get out. We'll see what happens, I guess.
dude, they get you. They hook you in, don't they? I mean, they got me with a lot of promises that weren't necessarily delivered on, like education benefits, bonus. Yeah, oh yeah, you won't deploy for sure. And then I get to my base and they tell me you're probably deploying the next couple of years. So, all right, dude. Well, what did we learn today? We learned about bulking versus cutting, but essentially workout's going to look the same. You might up the reps a little bit, and
Up the reps, up the
up the
cardio a
reps,
little
up the
bit.
cardio. Because you need that cardio just to lose the extra, to lose that weight, and that's
Yep.
common sense. And I think
Put yourself
anybody,
in a put yourself in a caloric deficit at that point when you're
yeah,
adding extra cardio, and that's kind of what you need to lose the weight. So
yeah, and I think anybody could have guessed that. But it's the fact that people don't like to hear it. That I actually have to do cardio in order to get down to that body
yeah,
fat that I want. But yeah, so up the reps a little bit, lower the weight if you have to, if you're not feeling the energy and strength that you used to while you're bulking. But keep the diet clean. I mean, there's no way that you're going to lose weight and sustain muscle if you're eating a bad diet. Am I wrong?
Yeah, definitely not. You're not going to sustain any muscle. You're just going to gain some fat, and you might gain strength over it just because you're putting the weight on. But it's
True.
not going to be
True.
it's not going to be good strength. I mean, you're
Yeah.
looking a lot fatter. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's deceitful too because you know, as you eat a lot of carbs and stuff, your body retains that water and you're able to, maybe output a little more power, but not necessarily because your muscle fibers are stronger. You know what I'm saying? Um, anyway, depends on your goals too, but dude, thanks for coming on and talking with me today. I really appreciate that. Chris
Yeah, thank
Deja,
you.
Chris Deja, the second best wrestler in
Uh,
2016 in the
come on.
South Central Conference in Wisconsin.